Liam, how's everything going with the footballer? That's awesome.
So what's coming up? Q1 reviews. I want to steal your thunder. It's probably good if you want to open up there, Liam. I see you're unmuted.
Yeah, can do. Mark just asked how it's going with the footballer. Yeah, it's good. Um, I find that when you get people, because I also charged him more because I knew he was a professional footballer. So and then that has now increased my prices overall. But the people who pay more and the people who also want it for a bigger reason are also like better to work with. Like it's been way more enjoyable to work with someone like that than to work with someone that doesn't want it as much and isn't paying you that much. So I think I should have probably upped my prices much earlier, but it's just that fear of upping the prices and having to expand your mind and do that kind of stuff. But now I'm like my OTE coach is like, stop raising your prices so much because I'm like, I just want to go more and more and more. But yeah, we'll see. That's how it's going.
That's so valuable, man. Well done. Awesome to hear.
Cheers, man.
How does it make you feel about your future? What do you expect for your future? A time where people are fearful and doubting and
Yeah, insane. Like it's like I said in the chat a minute ago, like is your vision and your views and your mindset gets changed so quickly. And it's you obviously have wobbles. Like I had a wobble like every like month or so where I'm like, oh, like that resistance that you still have from like your previous life, all that kind of stuff. I find the environment is massive. Like when I was out with Moochie, I felt 10 times better. And then when I literally away from my house and like those views of like how everyone thinks, I'm away from that for a day and I'm literally like 10, like my vision is 10 times and I'm like thinking so much better and I'm so much happier, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, insane. Like don't know what's gonna happen in 5 years, but it's exciting stuff.
yeah. The wobbles happen, man. The wobbles are real, and it's okay. Like they become different, and you realize that you were living the wobble before. Like the wobble was life, and then the wobble becomes like a moment of doubt or a day or two of feeling like I'm just not on. Like I don't know, something's. I had it yesterday, and it was interesting because I had a friend, and one of the first men that I worked with that went really really big. We worked together in 2016. He came to my event in Brisbane, then in Spain, then in Austria. He traveled the world to like keep going to my stuff because he could see he was going to change his life. And he just had a $700,000 business launch last year. Tim Frey, I've spoken about him a little bit. He's very successful, high achiever, super athletic, great guy. And he posts on his Instagram, I'm experiencing extreme anxiety every evening. And I was like, fuck, like, so I was messaging him about that, just like exploring what's going on for him because we're buddies and we speak often. He shares interesting stuff with me and he's a good man. And, he worked one to one with Paul for 18 months or so. It was like, 20 grand a year kind of investment. But at the back of that, now he's had this $700,000 launch and he thinks differently about himself and his life and he's not afraid to invest himself. Anyways, I was exploring because I saw his post about anxiety, but at the same time, I was experiencing one of those wobbles of like, man, like what's coming next? Um, I'll just be like fully transparent with you guys. Like I had a $30,000 to invest into the Montenegro village, $30,000 to invest into Bali, and I don't go backwards. Like that's my policy as far as wealth goes. So everything that I've done in the past is forgotten, and what needs to be paid now needs to be paid from where we are right now. And so I was like, man, like this is there's a bunch here, and you've probably all seen as well. There's not as many men coming into Uncommon Success. Like I haven't been pushing sales. I've downsized with my team. I've been having this big transition because I knew something needed to change. And so at this moment, I was having a deep wobble when I'm reading his post about uh, anxiety and stuff. And I'm like, man, I've been feeling the best I've ever felt by so much. And then, but then in this moment, I'm not feeling good. And I was talking to my wife about it, about like, well, this is currently where we're at. Like, this is the position that we're in. And I was like, okay. And I was getting wrapped up in it as you can, like just going into that. And I was just thinking, like, why am I going into this again? Like, I've been feeling in this different way. Like, what am I doing? And then my children were going down the road here to go to this place that's got a basketball court and a big swimming pool and barbecue areas and stuff. And I had to make a decision of like, am I going with them to go and meet these local families and homeschooling families and their new friends who they just met at a bookshop yesterday, or am I going to stay here and work hard on this and solve this crisis that I've created in my mind? And the old me, like 100% is staying, like for a month, like not leaving the house for a month to solve this. I went to the pool yesterday and ended up hanging out with the children and then I started doing some work in the afternoon and then they wanted to do something and I just went and did that. And then this morning at 5 o'clock, 4:30, I woke up and I was like thinking about stuff and I was like, yeah, like beautiful clarity, what needs to happen next. And I'm so certain that the future is bright. And you guys can all see for me that the future is bright. Like you don't really doubt that, like there's a lot of options here. There's a big network. There's heaps of good stuff going on. Like it probably seems ridiculous to you to look at, for me to think, oh, I'm getting anxious about earning potential or what my future might look like for how I'm going to look after my family. But I still get those wobbles. The thing is, how long does it last for? And then what do you reframe to? And then how good can it be when it's good? I asked my buddy about like, have you used MDMA? Because I've been asking this question around joy and love and grace. And I knew he probably has enjoyed a few parties in his time. And so it's on that spectrum of like, from how deep can you go into I'm anxious, I don't like life that much, to how deeply can you go into how good is life, how good is the opportunities around us, how joyful can this experience be? And yeah, the environment is a significant part, but you can learn to be very different in whatever environment you're in. It's more challenging to change, and obviously, Liam there's shared what's just happened. You're making huge change while you're in that existing environment, the environment that you've been in. But yeah, getting out and seeing the world, getting out and changing. I was telling my boy a bedtime story last night. I was talking about when I first arrived to Mexico when I was 23 and I didn't know anyone, and then what I was doing in Guatemala. And it made me remember in Guatemala, there was I worked in an orphanage for 2.5 months. There was no internet. We lived in this little wooden house with no electricity, candlelight, and there were some books there because it was an orphanage and people would donate books and stuff. So I remember studying like all the states in the United States, all the countries in Africa. One of the guys was amazing at history, Matthew Levan, his name was, and he would teach me about history, and I would write these pages and pages of notes about history. And it's like, this is what I did when I didn't have anything to do. I didn't have a business. I didn't have any vision for my future, really. I just knew I had to go out and do something different and see the world. And I instinctively at 23 just studied, and I loved studying, and I learned Spanish, and that's where I learned Spanish. People ask me here, like, why do you speak Spanish? And that's why I speak Spanish, because I stayed in that orphanage in Guatemala, spoke with the children, and then there were people from Spain there. And so this is, yeah, we're getting more to the heart of the matter, gentlemen. Like, making money is a thing, and there's all these people that you can find a million people who are going to talk to you about making money, but no one's doing what we're doing. No one's doing what Liam's doing. Like, this is a deep, personal, permanent transformation that you cannot go back to who you were. But you can't think in the old frames of mind, where if you make a bunch of money and then you stop making money, like this is, it's such a superficial thing relative to what can be happening, what is happening here. And so that's kind of the discussion for today is around what is it that we're really building? Like defining that more deeply gives us the opportunity to invite more people into it. And there are going to be a lot more people come into this journey in the next few months, definitely in the next year. We're going to work more closely with the Time Chamber community. Time Chamber community will launch. You guys will have access to that. But Uncommon Success will continue. The work with Paul will continue. So it's very bright. You think about these live events that are all about to happen. Norway, Croatia, Portugal, Mexico. But before we jump too deep into that, I want to hear some other stories, some other reflections. What happened for you in Q1? I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about your spirit, your vision for your future, your expectations for the future. I know there was some good big changes that happened. Mark had a big transition. I know Davies had a lot of deep thought. Chris O'Toole's taken on new experiences. Andrea took himself over to Montenegro and has launched himself into being a copywriter. Niels Van Elsis moved and is getting results with his online stuff. Robbie launched online business, made his first money online, becoming a beautiful father, diving so deep into that experience. Kevin uprooted himself to another country. Jack uprooted himself to another country, Montenegro and Vanuatu villages. I'm giving you cliff notes because yeah, it's difficult for everyone to have a big share, but huge transitions. Odna launched his online. Who I'm missing? I don't know, Nick, what you've done because you've been a bit quiet, just straight up. But you joined this network and you've been having a look. Michael, I know you've been having a lot of deep conversations. Patrick doesn't say which one it is. Oh, it's I don't know which Patrick it is. You don't have your camera on, so I can't tell. Who wants to share? I'm sorry, I'm excited. I'm putting words in everywhere, but this is, it's good things. What's more important than this? Mark, it'd be good if you do want to share, because I know it's been a wild roller coaster for you, but it's a good roller coaster.
Yeah, absolutely. And I could relate a lot to the wobbles yourself and Liam were speaking about. Because yeah, this is my first quarter in business. I launched at the very start of January. And listen, I know it's great to have a bit of income coming in online, but I must say the spiritual development has been the best part. And I've experienced that a lot since the first UMC event, I must say, because as well as being in Montenegro, that was great to be with all the guys and connecting there. And um, yeah, that was just one example of how environment is everything. As well as this online network, it's been very powerful and very influential for me personally. But yeah, something you said there earlier about once you notice information and you're never going to be the same man again. That's exactly how I felt in the UMC, because it's hard to know these things and understand these things that I don't know, you can cultivate you can socially, in the same way you can be socially engineered into contraction, you can actually socially engineer yourself into, or sorry, just engineer yourself into expression. It's hard to understand that and then not do anything about it. So that's been the biggest shift for me. I know it's been great earning online and stuff, but that has been the biggest shift for me personally.
Yeah, thanks, Sharon, there, Mark. I wanted to hop in on that thing where about the wobbles again. It's like my personal wobbles come from, like you say, where it's like you learn something new and then you can't forget it, but then you get caught up in thinking like you sometimes want an old life, not necessarily the whole life, but like some parts of it, and then you're like, wait, I can't even have that now that I understand all this new stuff and I have this new life. So I've listened to Jordan Peterson talk about this such this entire like problem and stuff, done some research about it. He was just like, the solution is just to go all in on that new life and not worry about the old life, because it's like if you have this new information, you can't unlearn it. The anxiety comes from where you're trying to fight that new thing that you've learned. Whereas if you just go all into it and then keep learning new things and never looking back, then that's where the anxiety clears. And yeah, sorry, I just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, and I'm in a very similar position to you, Liam. I'm back living in Ireland, which has been a bit of a challenge for me. And I was saying this to Keegan, I feel that despite being here and despite being in an environment where perhaps it's not the norm to want to express these things and want to do something that's a little bit different. But I'm pretty proud of how I'm still managing to do that. And I just keep thinking, if I can immerse myself in an environment such as this one, but be surrounded by more guys in person, I'm just wondering if that could just take my game to the next level. I'm sure you experienced it when you were over with Justin. I definitely experienced when I was over in Montenegro, and yeah, that's something I've been thinking about a lot too.
Love it. I'm gonna throw to Nick there. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Liam. And throw to Nick there because he did share in the chat his last 3 months, and I didn't know too much about what's going on, but he's had some good shifts there as well.
Yeah, thank you. Honestly, man, the last 3 months, the biggest change has just been the perception. When I first spoke with you, Keegan, like you were one of the first people that really made me feel like it was possible to do what I've been wanting to do. And just to give some context to the other people in the group, I work in sales right now, 9 to 5. And then I'm also coaching a college team, a college wrestling team. So I have a pretty like busy schedule, but like one of the things that Keegan said is like when you really care about something, you're gonna prioritize it and you're gonna make the time, even if it's just 1 to 2 hours a day. And I was kind of cutting myself short with the excuse of like, oh, I'm so busy with my 9 to 5, I'm so busy with coaching, like I just don't have the time right now. And in the last 3 months, like I found an hour when I get a call canceled for sales that I work on my own business, or just 2 hours at the end of my day. Instead of scrolling on Instagram, I'll go and try to put together some content and reach out to, I've been working a lot with Ben Watson and collaborating with him. But the biggest thing has just been the perception and just seeing so many of you guys that are moving to different countries and growing your businesses and just showing me that like it's possible. Like when you see someone doing what you want to do, it just further strengthens your belief that it's possible to do that thing.
Yeah, brother. And it's exponential and it's permanent. That's the thing. You think that, okay, sometimes it's easy to judge by the money, but I know there's been big shifts happening that are outside of the money, and the money is just a symptom. When you keep finding this better image of yourself and leveling up your skills, leveling up your network, and you're doing work on things, it becomes inevitable. We don't know. You never know how long it takes. Like the gestation period for a baby, you know how long it is. But for these babies, for these ideas, for the dreams and visions that we have, you don't know how long it takes for them to come into the real world. But they're always birthed if you can hold on to the vision. Lugo's been talking about the Acacia Records, and he's having a silent meditation experience there in Montenegro. Likely the first one will be in May or June. I don't know exactly what he's talking about. I'm going to throw it to you in a second, Lugo. I'm going to open up there. But I was laying in bed this morning at 5 o'clock in the morning and thinking, I wonder what else my mind can do. And I was like, just show me and I'm willing to do it. And I started to feel a very different energy. I started to feel a different brain state. I've played around with like the alpha brain state and these things. And I know what it was, but yeah, I got up and started writing copy for the Uncommon Money Club that I know is going to make millions of dollars. And it's like choosing, and like Lua planted that seed with me because okay, we need to do more stuff in Montenegro. Like we've now invested more than like something similar to what Bali Time Chamber investment has been invested in Montenegro, and we don't have, it's different in Bali compared to in Montenegro in terms of many things, but it's like a significant investment, but we need to keep going. And yeah, the challenge of needing to continue to expand and not getting comfortable is a good one because it makes me then go into the next thing. Like it's all good to do the energy thing, but then you also want to do the physical expression of that. So you was just the seeds that he's been planning about that in the last few days, messages we've been having, and just needing to make that next investment. Encouraged me today to experience something different, and I did experience something
Hello,
different.
everybody. How are you?
Please share, Lubo.
Me and Kev here. I talked with him about silent on the top and down be more place, restaurant, upstairs 2 office, and place for 30 people sleep and gym. And shower, everything be very soon finish, Hilton, and then on the top, who like try with us. You explain a little, yeah, please.
Yeah. So if people don't know, Yubo's planning on creating an experience where it's a month long, and in the first around 13 to 14 days, the start of it is where everyone would be connecting, and then it's going through. I'm pretty sure it's like information and connecting and bonding between the people that have decided to go on that experience prior to then the other 15 days or 14 days worth of silent meditation, which is the second half of the month. And then during this experience, I don't know if anyone's kind of familiar with the Akashic records, but essentially it's like the records of the universe that are always ever existing. It's just for you to have the keys to tap into it. And Yubo feels like he can
If we
be
be together, more people together, I think, better energy, and we touch the be quiet, no talk, only think our question, and I think informatic field Akasha give answer, but need powerful energy. I think 10 or 20 people together be there.
yeah. The one aspect of this that I've thought about, hopefully this is I suppose I hope the spaghetti is sticking to the wall here with some people. Yeah. I think we've been talking again through UMC about accessing those levels of consciousness where we find we can get into those flow states, and where, say for example, someone's to rate their average state of being, maybe it's a 6 or a 7, and then it's like, what experiences can we get that could facilitate us to get to those 8 or 9s? And then I think this could be something that would be able to facilitate that because of the environment, and then the men that are getting together to go and do that. So it's like, imagine we have a bucket of potential that we know we could just access given a key, and then this key could be the silent meditation. And then it's like, once you've hit that rep of getting there, maybe it's going to be a lot easier to get there in the future. So this could be a key for people to, um, you know, once they get that actual experience, as Paul says, you actually know and feel what it is like in your body, because you have the wisdom of that experience due to actually experiencing it versus conceptualizing it. And I think that's what kind of Yubo wants to be the facilitator of. And again, yeah, I don't already know what else to add.
Montenegro or other place, but together, people together, and I think connection better. This is what I mean. Not necessarily be here, but some good place, quiet, forest and nature, and I think we stay together and we better connection. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Yubo.
I'm curious if there's anyone who has ever done Vipassana, a silent retreat.
Yeah, Max, who's in this network, Max Litvinov, has done too, and he spoke quite a lot about it. He came to the Florida event that we did, and we've spoken to him about it. I think one or two others have, because he spoke about it quite a lot at that time. But yeah, I haven't. Have you done one, Niels? Or?
No, I have not. I've been intrigued by it and interested in doing it sometime. But another thing that I have practiced is trying to find that stillness within, previously in Amsterdam. So when there's so much going on around you, still trying to find the stillness within that. It's a lot easier here now where I live at the beach, and there's a lot of space and there's less people, less traffic. It's much more easy, but of course a very different game than being days on end, silent, no contact.
I just had a live event down in Clearwater, and one of the major takeaways was believing in myself a bit more. And essentially, we planned this event, and in the last minute, there was a pop-up event that came in because it was really being held from the ATG community. And I was down there for a sales event, and a business development event popped up by one of the higher ups in there, and it wound up bringing about 25 total people. And I pretty much deferred a day of my event to their event, looking at it as, okay, this will be great to see the things that they're offering, and also that everyone in that community was far more excited about what their one of the head ups in there giving a talk on it. And what I realized by the end of it, and at the end of the day, was it did not connect. The approach and the way that things were presented, I could tell everyone in the audience did not see it that way, and did not feel like they were leaving there with improved business skills. And the people that were part of the event that I was involved with were leaving with skills. So I guess the point is that it reminds me that the things that we have to offer are good stuff is good stuff. And just because other people are offering things out there doesn't mean that what we're offering isn't really good. I think a lot of times we overestimate the capabilities of others while we're underestimating the capabilities of ourselves. And it really just reinforced that the things that I have to offer are valid. And now I just have to make sure that they work, and look at a projection of growth, because most of the people that I was applying the sales course to are in the very early stage of business, which doesn't really translate into a large financial windfall for me. But I guess as they become better and are growing, and they're moving from $1,000 packages into $10,000 packages into $10,000 packages, or into 100,000, that's where it builds and grows into that much larger situation for me.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Chris. And the ATG for Coaches was my business. I started that business, and it's a good community. It's a good network. It's bigger than the Uncommon Success community, and most of them are in the United States. So it's easier to bring people together in the United States. It's easy to take it personally when you try and put an event on and then people can't go, but it wasn't that much notice. There's like not that many people in that area, and it's an effort to get to make that stuff happen. So everyone, you're gonna take it personally whether people want to come or not, and such. But it doesn't mean, as you say, it doesn't mean it's not a reflection on your skills or the results that you would have from that thing. It's people's perceived understanding and perception of what the value would be, what the outcome will be for them, if they were to come to that event, or if they are to work with you. But the most important thing is that internal journey that's going on for you of believing in yourself and getting experience, and that progressed. So that's a beautiful thing, and you are progressing.
My thought pattern around it was, did I actually intentionally scuttle myself by giving such short notice to the Uncommon community? Did I not take action to have it not come together? I was wrestling with that a lot. And then when that didn't work kind of throwing it together into the next, booting it to the next week, and then something did come together, I felt myself going back and forth. I'm like, do I really want this? I'm not acting. I'm not carrying out like I really want it. Like, am I just talking shit to myself and to everyone around me? So there were, yeah, I mean, in the wobble category, it was definitely a bunch of back and forth and letting the idea of, am I really going to leave my wife and my kids while she's pregnant and do all this? And it all worked out really well. So better, I knew it would be easier to live with myself as failing on trying something than not trying something and being an absolute failure.
Well, is it possible that you fail when you try?
Of course.
Depends how you frame it. Because if you get feedback, then in my opinion, if you get feedback, you didn't fail. If you throw the juggling balls, just throwing the juggling balls, just throw the 5 balls. Literally, I don't care where they go, throw 5 balls. Then you won. Because you started a feedback loop of, okay, there's 1 ball over there, there's 1 ball over there, there's 1 in my hand, there's 1 landed on my head, and I don't know where the other one is. I'll go look for it later. But you got a feedback loop started. People don't throw the balls, this myth of fail. By you going to Florida, you won. No matter what happened. If you didn't make $1, if you didn't get a client, because you met other guys, you saw this other thing, and you have a new feedback. You started a new feedback loop, and you got a new experience. Like, you weren't going to lose. I could see that the struggle that you're going through with this. Of, okay, like there's not a big buzz around this. There's not energy. I don't know why it is. Like, is it this? Is it that? I don't know. It's all speculation. But you create a new feedback loop, and that's it. If all you do is continue to create feedback loops, if you're able to spiritually, emotionally handle that, okay, there's a feedback loop here, and intellectually understand, okay, there's a feedback loop here, then you win. You just keep going through those loops. Okay, people like this one, they didn't like that one. It's the inner game of business that makes all the difference. The outer game is superficial. What's on the landing page, you have to play with that stuff, but if you continue to play with it, of course, you're going to make money. Of course, people are buying every day. Like, there's no mystery in business. The only mystery is, why am I not able to play? It's the inner game of business that is the one that matters. And the best way to progress into the inner game of business, in my experience, is through other stuff. And this is the segue, and we'll go into this, but this is why I'm talking about the 9 intelligences. This is why we juggle, why we do handstands and such, is because it gives you that experience of launching into new things. So, okay, I failed at my juggling today. All right, yeah. Well, and tell me about that. How did you fail? You can't fail when you practice juggling. You can't fail when you practice handstands. You can set an expectation for yourself of, I expect this of myself. I expect to juggle 5 balls today, even though I've only juggled 3 times in my whole life. Okay, well, you're a fool, but play on. It doesn't matter. Just accept the feedback. Okay, that's not going to happen in 24 hours. There's a gestation period for 5-ball juggling, and it's not 2 sessions of juggling. There's a gestation period for being a successful sales training coach, and it's not 3 months. Doesn't matter how many sales you've made. It's a new business. It's a new concept. You have to do new development. You have to understand new skills, and there's a gestation period for it. Can that be sped up through being connected to good people, through getting good feedback loops? And 100% it can be sped up. But if you're doing the thing, if you're moving in that direction, that's the advantage that we have in Uncommon Success. You get to experience the thing. You're having the conversations. And by having conversations, by someone allowing you to test your skills, you're winning. You're throwing the balls. You're doing business. So the 9 intelligences are a gateway into this. And business exists within the 9 intelligences. But when this is my journey, and it's the journey that I've seen work over and over again. Like, looking to reverse engineer, why did I go from being sick, broke, lonely at 28 to being a multimillionaire by 38? I didn't know why it happened. I didn't know why Ben Patrick went from making $2,000 a month to making over $1 million a month from our conversation. But he said it a number of times. I didn't fully take it in of, like, you changed my life. Like, there's literally a screenshot from Instagram where he put it up of, like, I would not have been on Joe Rogan if it wasn't for ATG Mentor, which is my thing at the time. But it's this stuff. It's taking on playing new mind games. And Ben was ready to play straight away with the game of play Instagram, play podcasts, just do the thing. This is going to change the world. Most men have more social engineering and conditioning like I did, that I wasn't ready to go straight into business. I needed to learn Spanish. I needed to learn the guitar. I needed to learn to juggle. I needed to learn to meet new people from all over the world. I needed to go through those experiences. For you, it's your own journey. But if you can continue to expand your intelligences, if you can become a better public speaker, if you can learn more languages, if you have friends all over the world, if you understand existentially what's going on, this is one of the intelligences, existential, you'll solve it. Like you 100% will solve whatever it is you want to solve. If you have this thing of I expand, the universe is for expansion and fuller expression. You can see evidence of that all around you. How many seeds come off a guava tree? Guayaba. How many seeds come off any tree? Corn. How many seeds does it have? There's a whole field of seeds. Like, look at that abundance. So this is what the universe does. You can't argue with what the universe is doing. You only have to observe it. Extreme abundance. So if you're living in contradiction to that, of course it feels shitty, because you're living in contradiction to the laws of the universe. You're living in contradiction to nature, to your nature. If you look at the beautiful things that have been created in the past, clearly people have lived at other times where they've been developing these intelligences. Leonardo da Vinci, have you heard that he was willing to take anyone on in a grip contest who would enter his studio? Wherever he was working, you could stop him work at any time if you wanted to challenge him for a grip contest. Leonardo da Vinci. They were all polymath, generally polyglots. It was normal to speak multiple languages. Even the people in Mexico here, the people who are dirt poor in the mountains of Mexico, they all speak multiple languages because they speak the language of the people over the hill from that side and the people over the hill from that side. And then usually they speak Spanish as well. So they usually speak 2, 3, 4 languages. We're meant to have linguistic skill. We're blessed with the ability to have linguistic skill. We're blessed with the ability to be musical. We're meant to be musical. Children love music. Children love singing. Adults stop making music and stop singing because someone else makes the music. And then the devil starts making all the music that we listen to, or whoever it is. Someone's making the music who doesn't really like expansion, from my perspective, or at least from the radio that comes around my way. So this is the hypothesis, and this is also gives us, well, what do you do when you get the money? Because this is the thing, right? How many people out of the people that you see that are rich on YouTube or rich on Instagram, how many of them does it look like they're really living interesting lives? And what would you do if you didn't have to worry about money? Who are you? And the answer for most men is nobody, nothing. I don't know. How would I know? But reflecting, I got to have that experience at 23 years old. I had a few $1,000s and I only needed $100, less than $100 a month to live in that orphanage. I had enough money to live, and so money wasn't a thing. I had no money stress, zero money stress. I wasn't thinking about how I was going to make money in the future. I didn't stress about money at all. What I wanted to figure out was, what is a good life? And I came up with the concept of the villages of like, I need to get some land, I need to get some animals, food grows on trees, and with food, you don't need to stress about money. Your ancestors had herds of animals. Your father, your great-great-grandfather, his cousin, his uncle, his brother, in the village and around the village, they had 10 cows, they had 100 cows. My grandfather had over 100 cattle, chickens, horses, pigs now and then. Imagine growing up in a village where everyone, you're the child, and everyone you look up to has an infinite, seemingly infinite, self-renewing supply of food. And they own their houses, and they know how to build another house that's like those ones if they need to. So at that point, there's 0% money stress, and there's zero projected stress for the future because they just eat the grass. And then you got milk, you got cheese, you got meat, you grow the veggies. It's not meant to be like what we're experiencing now. This is a socially engineered thing to go and live in a smart city and everything comes according to your credits. But we have to return to the intelligences. We have to develop intelligence. How many people do you know outside of Uncommon Success that are actively pursuing developing the 9 intelligences? Being better communicators, understanding themselves better, understanding their partners better, their children better, learning multiple languages, building a business, learning about how to farm and build. And why is that? I don't know anyone, even though I'm into all this stuff. I don't know anyone outside of our network. Ben Patrick's developing a school through the conversations that we kind of had through that time, and Nico's going to his next level. So this is the framework. The business is the tool, and you should do the business. But when you keep engaging with the 9 intelligences and you get better at teaching each of them, then it gets easier and easier. You're like building a bigger and bigger foundation of what you could monetize. And yes, you have to go through the mental barriers of being comfortable with monetizing. And I understand that that's uncomfortable to begin with. It was very uncomfortable for me as well. I had failures. I had experiences that weren't going anywhere with selling $7 a month products and such. I know what it's like to not have the income that you want from a business. But this is the reality that is fully authentic to me. Is like build the 9 intelligences. And the start is the most powerful thing. I want you to tell me, what are some of the things that are in your mind of like, I wanted to do this as a child, but I stopped doing it. I wanted to do it as a teen, but I stopped doing it. I never took it on because I was scared. Or I wanted to do it in my 20s, but I stopped doing it because I was scared. I didn't do it. For me, it was all the stuff that I teach. Language, music. I haven't taught much around the guitar because I'm not great at it, but starting with the guitar was huge for me. Singing in front of people, learning another language, Spanish and then French, and then having a go at others. These were the things that transformed me. Meeting new people from all over the world, going to different places consistently. Dancing is the one that I haven't really faced yet. Connor O'Shea is doing his dancing, and we spoke about the last podcast. And I'm ready to face that thing as well, to be able to have more skill and more fun with dancing. My wife is also interested in it. It'd be a good thing for us to do. The rest of it's all plus now. Like I conquered all those things that I didn't know if I could do. And having a wife, having children is a big one as well. It's something that was on the mind. Not that you conquer it, but you experience it, and you experience it positively. So, yeah, what are these things for you? Is it public speaking? Is it writing poetry? Is it songwriting? Use the chat. We can unmute as well. But I want to hear, dancing for Michael. Good. Straight up. What kind of dancing you want to do? Is it break dancing? You see Brian Rose, the London Real guy, often shares his breakdancing. I'm sure it's like this for him, like something of like, I don't give a fuck. People criticize him and mock him when he puts his dancing up, but he's maybe 60-ish, and he's able to break dance on some level.
For me, it's like Latin dancing, so cumbia, salsa, just all those, because my wife's family is Mexican, so like every time we go to a New Year's party or something like that, it's always playing. So that's also why I want to learn Spanish as well. So Kevin hooked me up with Ling Q, and I've been going hard on it the last few days. So tying those two things together to work on some of these intelligences.
Good man. The universe is for expansion and fuller expression. The reward is inherent when you can do something you couldn't do before. How's the guitar going, Tully? Which language? Yeah, nice. The singing is a good one as well, Chris. I've been singing a bit more as well. Yeah, Lim, we're going to be playing guitar at the spoiler alert. We're going to be playing guitar. I got 2 guitars here in Mexico, waiting for everybody when they arrive. Yeah, you're public speaking all the time now, brother, as well. But it's an art to develop. Andrea, singing, drawing, taking pictures, language. So are you doing these things? Kadim, Jack, Davi,
Nope.
Odna. So choose one for Q2 that you're going to progress. If you want to do 5 minutes a day, cool. If you want to do a 1-hour session once a week, cool. If you can see a snap here, an overlap, I want you to buddy up with someone else who's committing to a certain level. Don't commit to anything big. Commit to something really small, ridiculously small. I'm going to get a guitar and I'm going to play it once a week. I'm going to get a guitar. I'm going to pick it up every day, 5 minutes every day. If you already train and you already have other things that you know you do, then you put it on top of that. We need to lock this down around the Freedom Book and all these the systems of discipline, action, brotherhood, and such. But knowing that you have a start point each day, and then that triggers a bunch of stuff that you do. This is the next iteration. Some of you already have it. Some of us already have it. Throwing right-handed, Michael Melbourne. Yeah, it's such a good feeling. I threw right-handed so much at this last house, not this one, but the one before. It was getting better and better, and it feels inherently good. When you have children, you have the opportunity to have this beautiful, deep learning and upgrading experience over and over. This is the playful state of life. Yesterday at the pool, the child brought his bodyboard. Child's name was Felix. Speaks Russian, German, and English. Understands a bit of Spanish. And he brought a bodyboard, and he's similar age to my son. And I paddled them around. I was powering the boat for a while. I got them connected to it. I helped them to connect to each other a bit and get into a game. But they were both learning to stand up on this bodyboard, effectively like learning to surf. But I'm the wave machine. I was the wave, and they're learning. It's fun. You see the brain rewiring in real time. Yeah, which language, Mark? What tech specifically? We need to get more specific. Surfing. Yeah. Yeah, Tully, the list is longer, but life is long too. Or it's not, and then you don't have to worry about it. But if it is, then every 3 months, if you move into some of this, if every year you've done a bit more, this is how good life can be, right? For me, it's what I love. I love that I went through these experiences. Even learning the Rubik's Cube was a horrible journey for me. Buddy said, "Oh, you need to learn it." It took a week trying to learn it with his method, and it was like torturing me. I couldn't get it. And then I learned a different way, and then I've taught hundreds of people to solve the Rubik's Cube. At live events, we've solved Rubik's Cubes. And it's a little thing. It only takes, between an hour and 3, 4, 5 hours, and then you can do it for the rest of your life, and people think you're a genius. But it's fun to go through from like, okay, this is impossible. My brain doesn't work like that. I don't think I naturally have a great brain for spatial and logical. Having done it with lots of other people, some people who've done more building and things, they get the mechanics of it, the logic of it much faster than I did. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. I taught them how to do it. Yeah, you gotta go surfing with Davi. Davi's a surfer. Yeah, there's a few guitar here. All right, yeah, let's crank guitar for next quarter. We're gonna have men doing the guitar thing. Do you have a guitar, Davi? Do you have a guitar, Tully? basic things. Probably used to breakdance, computer programming. It's probably shit languages, but now I have Spanish. Good product idea I wanted to sell as a teenager. I used to love drawing, sketching, growing things. Cool. Yeah, I got into bonsai and cactus as well at one stage with my mom. Watercolor painting. But it's the things that you that you really want to do, but you feel bad about, that you had a negative experience about, you have a negative belief about. This is what I feel is really powerful. And this is, maybe everyone needs to have that 3 months that I had in Guatemala. Like, hey, bro, you got nothing to do. You got nothing to worry about. Just use your brain each day. Play with children is ideal, which happened a lot at the villages. Andrea was really good at playing with the children. He was teaching my boy to play chess, but he was also really good on the trampoline. And there's a lot of your ropes and stuff in the gym. Play with children. Learn stuff that you're fascinated about learning. Anything. Be fascinated, be interested, be learning. Learn a new language. Be in a new environment. Maybe that's where it starts. 3 months. It makes the business stuff less daunting, less intimidating. I couldn't have built a business with the mind I had at that stage. I was very self-conscious. I was very, very sensitive to criticism. I still have that to a degree, but not to the degree I had it then. I sang in front of, I went to like a rebel squatting community in Colombia where they took over land and said, okay, this is our land now, like kind of rebel stuff. And I sung a song there. I would never have done that a year or two earlier for shame, more so than. So Odna Spanish, yeah. Jumping into it. Kevin's, yeah, Spanish. Yeah, everyone here wants to learn Spanish as well in Mexico, but they don't know how to learn. That's the thing. And they're too self-conscious about learning, and they're not teachable. They're not coachable. I'll tell you a little story. The woman who I met yesterday, she's very into understanding how the world is falling apart and everyone's about to go to war. And she might be right, but she wants to learn Spanish. I said, okay, let's do 5 minutes of Spanish practice. Like shrink the thing down. And I said, ¿Cómo te llamas? And she said, oh, that's what's your name, isn't it? All right. Well, you don't know anything about learning languages. Okay. She couldn't answer what's your name, even though she's been studying Duolingo every day. And okay. And then I brought my wife in on it so I could sort of show her, like, you just speak, or you speak. And then it's like, ¿De dónde eres? And asking, where are you from? If you can learn the first 10 questions and you can speak them with a decent accent, you're away. But we don't have these mental frames because we learn languages at school like what they taught us how to read and write, which is with colors and all that stuff. But anyways, I don't want to go too much into the language thing. But yeah, generally there's blockages of like, okay, we don't know how to learn and we don't like learning even though we say we want to learn. I'm going to try again with her and her husband. I had a deep conversation with her husband, Tim. First time I met him, and we ended up going really deep about his history and his life and where he was going next, and just being curious. And in the past, I wouldn't have probably given him the time. I would have been too obsessed with myself and what I needed to do and who I am. And he had a really interesting story, and yeah, maybe we'll have expansion in the connection. So with the language thing, those who've said they want to learn Spanish, what if you committed to putting a voice note, sending a voice note each day to your language partner? We've tried this thing with the big groups. We haven't done them like this. Maybe the big group would work as well. But the big idea, and we get into, we're an hour into this. For Q2, for each key thing that you have in Athletic, Richer, Smarter, and you don't have to have all three, but if you have all three, I want you to have a partner in that. I'm not sure if it's going to work better with 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, but less than 5 people, and you commit on that one thing. So if it's Spanish, good. If it's guitar, good. If it's having a sales page that you're proud of in your business, if that's the big thing for you over the next 3 months, good. Have one to 4 people who you're connected with on that. And you might decide with that person, hey, we send each other a voice message each day in that language, or we send each other a lick of guitar that we play each day. Because this is what happened with Liam and Justin. Maybe you want to share. He's still there. Yeah, Liam's still there. Liam and Justin have formed a beautiful friendship, as deep as any connection that I've probably seen over the years of working with men. And I've seen lots of men go into business together and have long business partnerships, open gyms, all sorts. I think Justin and Liam's connection is probably the deepest. But maybe you can share a little bit about how much impact that's had for you with business and with the way you're looking at life and the way you look at your future. Liam.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. Like I had a whole, like the original way, I spoke to Justin once on like a 20-minute call before, and it was a good call. But then I hadn't spoken to him for like 3-4 months. And then I started getting into all like this faith stuff, like Christianity and stuff like that. And I had this call with Justin, and it was like, it linked loads of things together. And it was like, I found this guy called Cliff on TikTok like 2 days before, and I had a conversation with Justin. It was his pastor. So I was like, right, that's crazy. And then we ended up having like a 5-hour conversation on that day. I stayed up till like 2 a.m. or something. I'm usually in bed by like 9 when I'm at home. Just like chatting about life, about faith, all that kind of stuff. And then from there, yeah, we're literally just talking every day, like on message, we're FaceTiming each other. It was kind of natural because we're both in the same stage of life, as in like we both had a breakup, we both are now getting into like Christianity, we're both trying to build a business, we're both like doing all that kind of stuff. And having conversations with someone that sees your situation that isn't from your perspective, but is from someone that's going through the same thing is like game changing. Like when I was out in America with Justin, like I'm pretty sure I changed his view on the way like he saw his family and everything like that. Like he was struggling with that a little bit, and I like gave him the stuff to think about. And then I was like, wait, I'm kind of having a therapy session with myself by telling him to do this, do that, do all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's insane the power of having like one other person that's doing exactly what you're doing in your corner. It just pushes you to do the next thing and then do the next thing. Like even the other day when I said I had the wobble, I called Justin and he was like, I was saying like negative stuff, and my whole thing is like I never say anything negative because I'm into Bob Proctor, that kind of stuff. And he was like challenging me, and I was like backing off. And then after the call, I was like, yeah, you're right. I called him back again, and then I got back into how I was thinking before. So it's game changing having someone like that. I would say try and find someone that's doing the same thing at your level, whatever that level is, and just go at it together.
Thanks for sharing. And yeah, you guys talk about social media, like you've both had posts go viral and stuff on the back of the connections, and it's cool to find that one person. It's not necessarily going to happen instantly for everyone because different stages in life and different. But if you have something, for example, with the guitar, like Niels Bernelsis is getting some lessons. I'm keen to partner with you on that, Niels, if you're open to it. And I would like to technically progress my guitar. I can mess around and entertain myself, and I got off zero with it, but I would like to take that further. And if you're getting some lessons, then it'd be cool to have some accountability around that. Finding that specific accountability around a certain thing and committing to the minimum commitment is that you're going to speak with that person once a month. Like that's the minimum commitment, that you have a conversation with that person. It can be 15 minutes, half an hour, whatever. You can meet on the Dabble, you can meet in the Discord and use those. You can do it Telegram, you can do it Zoom, doesn't matter. But if you commit to a conversation once a month with someone who is also committed to learning Spanish, you're probably just going to do a bit more. You may decide, okay, yeah, let's send each other daily voicemail messages. Let's get on a call once a week. Let's get on a call once a day, 15 minutes. You decide what's cool for you. But if you commit to that minimum, the chances of you having a better Q2 and a better life are exponentially higher. Like Liam he can't go wrong from where he is. Like he would have to fully cut off from everything that he's doing, or he's just going to keep getting better, because you're in a cycle of, it's a virtuous cycle of learning, getting feedback, learning, testing things, getting feedback. He's now working with a Premier League soccer player. And we had that conversation 3 months ago of, I want to work with low-level soccer players. All right. Why are you focusing on low-level soccer players?
Yeah.
So it's there for all of us. And it's different in each area. And that's the fun thing. Like singing no one's tough at everything. No one's like, yeah, I feel mad about singing in front of 1,000 people and speaking about something that I believe deeply in front of 1,000 people, and doing a physical live show, like a circus performance in front of people, and making social media posts. And no one's got it all. The fun is in doing the things that appeal to you, that somewhere in your consciousness is like, I would like to experience this. Okay, good, experience it. And then the dream for me is that we have these physical locations around the world where you know that at least once a year, you're going to go super deep and you're going to have the chance to share all that you've been developing in yourself. You're going to have a chance to experience and feel in that different environment. Some people will choose to live in those environments. Some will go there for 4 days. Some will go there for a month. But I want those environments, but the environments are completely dependent on the men. The idea of like, I'll build a village. It doesn't matter about villages. What matters about is the men. What matters is the kind of conversations you can have and the kind of experiences. So we've got some smarter stuff popped up there, right? The Spanish, guitar. And I'm not saying, okay, and don't use this as an excuse now. Oh, okay, I'm doing guitar, I can't build a business anymore. I'm saying no, like 5 minutes a day. Like I'm not saying become Jimi Hendrix. If you want to become Jimi Hendrix, cool. That's your thing. 4 hours a day at least, go for it. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about breaking the limiting belief of I can't do that and getting to a point where it's like, I enjoy this. J-Top's coming for the event as well, Liam. J-Top's made millions of dollars in multiple businesses, mentoring people. He's coming for the end. But he's going to come and stay with me again for a bit. But he's been playing guitar and writing songs for himself as well. So that'll be a cool inspiration. He's like 23, 24, and he's been developing himself in that way. It's good when you break these limiting beliefs, because it's the same thing in business. And if you can consistently do it, consistently go through the barrier of why I can't do this, everything's good. Everything gets better. And it's easier to believe in it away from the money. So yeah, have we got a plan there, gentlemen? Have we got a commitment? I'll put it in the connected chat as well so we can get clear on it. But I think like dropping the thing and then finding at least one other person that you're committed to and making a clear deal between them. Does anyone have suggestions around that of how we can do that better, or is that clear? Questions? So we want it for, is anyone, any questions or anything someone wants to add?
I think the really small groups would be best on like the learning something, because even if it's like 3 or 4 people, it's easy for one person to like get out of the habit of doing it. Whereas if it's one-on-one, like me and Justin are constantly talking to each other, and it's like, oh, have you posted today? Like, how did this reel do? How did this reel do? And you're constantly having that back and forth, and then you're thinking about it more, and then it's sparking a conversation. So I think one-on-one's probably best, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that's my feeling, is go one-to-one. I struggle sometimes with fully dictating because you don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't have all the answers. It's all an experiment. Sometimes little groups are good, but yeah, let's pair up with someone on this. So who, if you can already see in the chat, you can write again in the chat who you want to go with on this, on the singing, on the guitar, on the Spanish. And then we can continue to build resources around that, because there is a better way to start learning Spanish and a better way to start learning guitar. There are methods that are more effective than others. Something is better than nothing. Habit share app, all right? What's that one like, Kev? Yeah. I don't know if you
Yeah,
like.
I've been using it. So, like
Yeah.
you can add someone if you want, and then you can basically screenshot it. But you know, like if people are on LinkedIn and they're trying to do the languages, I just get like the stats and like just send it to each other each day, or and then to say, okay, we're gonna hop on a 15-minute calls you're saying every day or whatever it might be. That's good incentive.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think probably the direct is probably as good as anything. Having another app and another box to tick is sometimes more of a challenge, but the person is always more valuable. If there's someone nearby or someone that you're going to be able to meet up with face to face in the next 3 to 6, 12 months as well, that's a good thing. So then in terms of the business side of things, gentlemen, what is the next 3 months? What's the big thing that's on your mind? What would success look like? Not necessarily earth-shattering, life-changing, exponential success. We want that for your 5-year, your 4-year and your 12-year targets, but in 3 months, it's just what would be a significant improvement on where I am now. Sometimes it opens up that exponential gain, but let's look for that same partnership. For me, it's getting the sales material live for what we're doing and getting some testimonials, some stories. Like we haven't told Liam's story or Evan's story or Justin's story anywhere, but there's 100,000 men who would love to experience what Justin and Evan and Liam are experiencing. Not like even just the business numbers, but then the real transformation is much bigger than that. So I need to get some marketing material out, and I'm really good at selling other people's stuff. I made $1 million selling Prove It. I put tens of thousands of people into ATG and ATG for coaches. It's often easier for me to advocate for other people's stuff, and I can honestly advocate for Paul's stuff, very, very deeply. So that's what I need to do. And that's my focus for the next few months. And that'll probably transition into doing within Time Chamber community as well. We'll see what moves next there. Yeah, that's my commitment, and I'm looking for someone I'm going to have that conversation with as well. So yeah, Athletic and Richer, share in the chat as well. What's the thing that needs to happen that changes everything for you over the next few months? If you weren't scared, if you did have support, what would it be? You can open up on the mic as well. Odna, you're in Spain at the moment, are you?
I'm in Spain. Yeah, correct. I've been a little bit out of the Uncom experience for a little while, and it's mostly because experience I had. We talked about the wobbling a bit earlier, and it happened with me with my girlfriend when I was like really eager to share a lot of things we were doing in Uncom, and I hadn't seen her for a long time. And then basically I just ended up getting in a lot of arguments with her over like the whole week she was there, and it was quite a hard time like afterwards. So I just been using the time now to get back, and yeah, and that's the timing for the full council material was perfect for me now, because I needed to get some, and also your videos, Keegan. I've been watching them lately, but you talking about your wife and the experience together. So it's been a little difficult for me, like the last couple of weeks, to know what do I want to do? What do I want to do if it triggers her? But now I know it's me trying to push it on her all the time. Yeah, so I've been a little bit lost, to be honest, like in Uncom and the things I've been doing business wise the last couple of weeks, to be honest.
Yeah, you launched your scale solution to Uncom players and to your other community. We had a baby just after that. We haven't spoken too much about it. You shared a little bit about it, but yeah, you have opportunity around that, and it's all good learning. Like you're changing, and then if you try and force other people around you to change, whether it's your parents or your girlfriend or your buddies, it doesn't end well. So nobody likes to be changed. Yeah, everyone resists change unless it's their choice. So if people are asking you, what are you doing? How's it working? Then cool, answer and talk and ask them questions back. But everyone resists change when they're being forced to change. So, and it is what it is with Uncommon Success as well. Like it will be a bigger part of your life some weeks than others, and some days than others. That's fine. That's how it is. Some months than others. It doesn't have to be a constant thing for you. I probably have. I want it to be a constant opportunity. So it's difficult to make it a constant opportunity without making it something that you have to do. But yeah. What comes to mind if you were going to have a great next few months? What might that look like? Odna?
Yeah. For me, I think it's getting back to posting and creating, because I haven't done that, and that's the thing that really, I felt like I was constantly exploring what I wanted to do when I was publishing, and when I was thinking about, okay, how can I help people? How can I take my experience and share it? So for me, getting back to publishing, and also I'm playing football, and that's a big thing. So I'm working hard on that, and working hard on the physical, getting back to handstands. I kind of made like the handstands and did like a 30-second handstand, and then I just stopped. And I want to get that code again and really develop them. I think it's difficult. I struggle to see it right now. So just getting back to the habits of what I was doing when it was going well, and then having these conversations more often than I have been doing the last weeks. That's the answer for me right now.
Yeah, good thing. I mean, it's having a target around the mastermind is good as well. And sometimes that's it with the handstands. It's like you can keep going with that, and it requires more time and more energy to keep going with the handstand journey. It's okay if you at some point decide, okay, yeah, like I'm okay with handstands for a while. I want to focus on something else. Like often we feel guilt of like, okay, I was progressing with this thing, now I stopped. Maybe you just got to where you need to get to. Like I worked really hard on guitar. I played every day for 6 months when I was in Mexico in my 20s, and then I haven't played that much since then. But I conquered the thing I wanted to conquer, and if that's the goal, that's the goal. So if you want to go back to it now, I want to go back to it. Cool. Just play how you want to play. So the challenge is that over the next 2 days, you identify your brother that you're going to check in with on athletic, richer, smarter, the one area that you're improving on that over the next 3 months. You can still set the monthly target. You can set weekly targets if you want. But the challenge is to find one person. It can be one for the whole 3 if you already know someone who's really on a similar page, but probably better to have a different one for each one who's doing the same sort of thing. They're either ahead of you, they're behind you, or they're at the same level with the handstand or with the juggling, with the Spanish. But having one person who you commit to having that connection with, it's not overwhelming to have 2 or 3 individual conversations going on. Like it's important that we don't have, we don't want to have overwhelm. And I understand that it can be overwhelming, but we're wanting to deeply transform our lives and each other's lives. and it can't be done without some time and attention. So there will be opportunity. I think at the base layer, if you're having those conversations, and ideally you come and say hello each week here around this time. Ideally once a month you're getting on the longer call with Paul. But it's all opportunity. And I understand, there's other priorities in life, there's other things, and that's great. I have that as well. Yeah, Tully's got this 3-ball juggling. So let's get a little bit more specific if we can, even though someone told me the other day, I never hit my monthly target in the goals. And he's like, I'm always really close, but I never hit it. I'm like, perfect. To me, I'm like, perfect. Because it means you moved strongly in the direction you want to move in. That means you're self-directed. That means you're doing well. The target, it serves as a target. If you pass it, great. If you move towards it and realize you don't even want to go there, great. If you hit it exactly, great. If you just miss it, great. What's great is that you're becoming self-directed. You're not mechanical. You've actually thought, what do I want for the next 3 months? And that puts you in the top 2, 3, 4%. How many people, go and ask people around you, what do they want for the next 3 months? And they're like, oh, fuck, I haven't thought about it. What do you want? If it goes to plan, where are you going to be 4 years from now? Oh, I haven't thought about it. If you could live the life that you wanted, if all your dreams are going to be fulfilled, what would you be doing 12 years from now? I haven't thought about it. Okay, good luck with that. It's not about whether you hit it or not. It's about choosing something and moving towards it. And if you're having conversations with others about it, Tully's doing a free school as well. 10D10 chin-ups. That's tough, Tully. Where are you at on that? 10D10 is a tough nut. I think 7D10 is the best of, or 10D7, in fact. I've done a bunch of sets of 10, but not 10. I've done a bunch of sets of 7. The pull-ups crew get more shorter range. 10% fat, 90 physique number, 10-second handstand, start social media page, publish content daily. Yeah. It's a big shift, Michael, if you're doing that. If you're ready for a revolution in your life, call for the revolution. If you're ready for the next step, call for the next step. You decide, you're the boss. Make $5,000 online, Andrea. I believe the focus is on copywriting for that. 10D10 pull-ups. Consistent content in Vanuatu. Handstand. Progress. Cool. Yeah, let's get some specifics, some numbers. What does handstand progress look like? What would a winning 3 months look like? You might find you hit it in a month. That's fine. Clarity on who I am, what value I can provide. Yeah, how I can provide value. Deep questions, Michael. Yeah, you're a deep thinker, and you're having very interesting conversations. I dare say if you had those conversations with people who've never had those conversations, they would want to do whatever you want to offer them to do. That's how it works. Yeah, saying he never hits it is a limiting factor, for sure. But if he's getting really close to it and he's setting big targets each month, then how many people are doing that? Yeah, 5K online consistently. That's what you want. Beautiful. So then opens the question, well, what would it take to do that? Okay, I need a better sales page. All right. I need more social media reach. All right. So who's got the social media reach? Who's got the audience that you want? Can you get them on a podcast? What can you do? And you start writing the answer to that question. That's the next step. What would it take? You write a hypothesis of what it might take to get there. What are you willing to do? What are 10 things you can do that are going to make that target more likely to be hit? Is that clear where we want to go with that? I'll share some more instructions into the connected, and I'll have it in the school as well, that you can see what I'm talking about. I think this is, I've been thinking about this stuff for a long time. How do we create more deeper personal connection and accountability? And we've played around with different things. But I think this is the simplest way it can be done, and the simplest way might just be the best way. And we can see it working with Liam and Justin. I've seen it working with lots of guys over the years. Any other questions, thoughts, feedback on that? Anyone want to share? Anything? Questions? Revelations?
I'll share something quickly. It's just been coming up for me with the long list I realized I had of shit I said I was going to start doing it and haven't made time for. Is just the story around time, like in the reframe around the 5 minutes a day. Because I've got caught up in the dad of 2 small kids running a business. I'm so busy story, and I'm like, oh, that story has really taken a hold. So that's what's really jumped out at me. Is I'm putting off a lot of stuff because I don't have the time. So, it's been a really good reflection.
Yeah. And what is the cost and consequence of that to your business and to your family if you never learn to surf, if you're not playing guitar? Like, you can reframe that as well of like, no, I need to do this for my family. Like, who am I as a father if I don't do the stuff that I love? And who am I as a businessman if I don't enjoy my life, even though I'm making money and I'm helping other people I really want to do this and I'm not doing it. Like,
Yeah. It's, I call it like this, the sparkle in my eye kind of thing. I don't know if you've read The Boy Crisis, but he talks about dad deprivation and the negative impact on boys. And he talks about a lot of the time how, when men become fathers, their whole purpose becomes their family, and they let go of what was their passion and purpose. And so they lose the sparkle in their eye. So their kids have a father who doesn't have the sparkle in the eye kind of thing. So or I'd be losing access to that. And it's all there. It's all available. It's just choosing it and getting out of just noticing it and shifting. That's why these conversations are so powerful.
who's the author there? Do you remember, Tully? Thanks for sharing that.
The Boy Crisis I can't think of the author. You'll find it though. Yeah,
someone on the Googles. But yeah, it's a familiar name. I think I know who you're talking about, but I think it's been recommended to me, but I haven't read it. But that's great. Have you made any presentations around that?
It comes into the coaching I do a lot. I haven't done any presentations around it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it might be on the podcast actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you've got any content around it, it'd be cool if you want to share it into the Telegram. But could be if you're open to it, it'd be something I'd love for you to present to the network, because I think it goes so much with the message, and there's so much guilt around putting time into yourself. But if you're nothing, then what have you got to give? Like at the extreme, you never learn anything. How good a father are you going to be? Okay. At the other extreme, you know everything. How good a father can you be? You can do everything. So it's pretty obvious at the extremes.
Yeah. And it's the core pillar that I work on with dads, because most dads are self-sacrificing to the point that they're resentful, and so they are a shit partner. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and it's got a time limit. Might be a year, might be 2, but the bomb eventually goes off.
Yeah, you don't want it.
So I'd love to chat more and extend that conversation, because it's one I have a lot.
Yeah, it could be a really good lead magnet type thing for you if you present it as a webinar for us, that in a way that you could invite your own crew as well, and it could be something
Mm.
that I think that's a really, really important message. I'm not, maybe you're leading it with it in your branding as well. I haven't I haven't seen it as much as, but I haven't seen that in your messaging. But I think it's a really, really, it's a attractive thing of like, you have to enjoy your life. You have to get the sparkle back in your eye to be a good father. Like and maybe that kind of forceful language might resonate more with guys who are talking themselves in a shame way of like, it's your duty to do it. Until it becomes the joy. But yeah, I mean, I'm experiencing it. I've experienced it a lot as well, Tully, and I appreciate you being honest and open about like that comes up for you as well. Because even though you're teaching it, it's
there's
it's still
layers,
something you can
right?
reset on. Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's why I appreciated it shocked me. I was like, oh wow, like it's something I'm actively looking at, and it just has snuck through the cracks somehow. So it's been good combo tonight for me.
Love it. That's what I really want to bring into this live event that I'm about to do. It's more of this, but experientially of what does it feel like, and then how could you transfer that into your business relationships and everything. Excellent. We've hit the 90 minutes. That's the commitment that I've asked for you from you gentlemen to stay connected and be able to share these ideas. I really, really appreciate that opportunity. If anyone wants to stay on and connect with each other, then welcome to do that. I know that the intention is generally that these are going to be 60 minutes, but because it was a quarterly review, we went a little bit longer, and yeah, I think we got some really great stuff there today. So thank you so much, and let's get these buddies in place for the next 3 months so that we know we have this other level of clarity and support to level up in Q2. If you need to jump out, you can jump out. Otherwise, I stay. My family's going out for a bit. I'm going to hit the...
Cheers, Keith. Appreciate it.
Welcome. Thanks, Michael.